Today I'm going to show you how to switch from summer crop into fall crop. Not just what I'm doing, but why I'm doing it. Because that's how you build your confidence to grow on your own. If you stick around and garden with me, you're going to start learning how to understand your garden, what it needs each season, to stop following rules blindly and to start making decisions for your garden and your own goals. Here's what most people don't realize. Summer crop and fall crop, the biggest difference is not just temperature. It's actually day length, where the days are getting shorter, heat patterns, where you have hot days and cooler nights, and plant biology, what actually triggers flowering and fruiting. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Ming. I'm a garden designer and educator here in Los Angeles, California, and you're watching my channel, Coastal Homestead, a home and garden lifestyle channel where I'm sharing plants, places, and stories that inspire everyday living. So let's get to work on these beds. A little while ago, I set up these 3 beds to be a teaching garden for those who say that they don't have much space. The actual footprint is probably 2 feet out from the wall and maybe about 14 feet long, because these beds are, I'm gonna say, a 4 foot, a 4 foot, and a 6 foot. If you have a small space like this on a side yard, this is actually on my driveway, so these beds are on concrete. You can go watch that video of how I set it up, but let's get these beds turned around. You'll get to see what I'm keeping and what I'm taking out. Before I get fully started, I have my coffee, I have my hori-hori, I have pruners, and I know I'm gonna get the question, so I will link these guys down below. I don't garden without these 2 tools. This is actually a smaller size pruner, which is why I love them so much. I don't have the biggest hands, and this gives me a really secure grip. Even at the widest opening, I can still reach like this, which is a huge difference when it comes to pruners. As for the hori-hori, you can see it is quite weathered. I have had this, gosh, maybe 4 or 5 years now, and it still works really well. The wood is a little bit or the hilt right here is a little loose. I think that's called a hilt, right? I don't know, looks like a sword. And this back end, which is actually proven to be pretty key, you can use as a hammer, and there's the serrated edge. I've never sharpened it. It could probably use a good sharpening. And then there's also the blade side for cutting through roots. But the plan is to just cut at the soil, remove the plant material, amend, and go plant shopping. And then we'll come back and plant it all together. So this is bed number 1, and there's still a couple things I can harvest. These are the tomatillos. I've already peeled the husk back on this one. Tomatillo husks look like this. And once you peel back, you have the edible piece on the inside that you can cook. Salsa verde, things like that. There might be just a handful, so maybe a little bit. I can make a pork chili verde, or I can make like a tomatillo salsa or something like that. This is bed number 1, and I have tomatillos, tomatoes, peppers, I think they're chili peppers, and a bunch of different basils. And we are going to just cut everything at the base and take it down. But before I do that, that crow obviously has something to say. But before I do that, I am going to harvest what is left. There isn't a whole lot. I'm not gonna run inside and get a basket because I might get sidetracked and not make it back out. I am a busy mom, so if I can get any time in the garden, I need to just stay out here. Here in Southern California, we have green waste bins, which is fantastic. If you don't compost at home, I just pull up my green waste bin nice and close. And you might have noticed I got a new camera. This is hopefully going to give you my point of view as I'm gardening. Bear with me, I'm still learning how to use it, so hopefully it's not too shaky. Hopefully it's actually usable footage, but we're gonna start clearing this. First things first, I'm going to harvest some of the tomatoes that are left. So I like to just grab them like this, put it on there. Wait, I didn't even turn it to record. Now we're in business. Okay, and I learned from my friend Jacques, you need to sync with the clap. So here we go. There's a lot of pest damage because I honestly just neglected all of this. So a lot of it I'm not even going to save. So we have some more tomatoes, just a few, because there's like this was probably eaten by a hornworm, and that's okay. Sometimes I leave them for my chickens, but I don't have a separate container right now to contain everything. At this point, when things look like this, I know it's a little overwhelming, but trust the process, okay? And here in Southern California, eggplants, peppers are perennial. So in this bed, I have both, and I will cut them back and overwinter them. Our winters are so mild that they'll probably sprout and be really ready to go once our spring actually starts. If you look at my eggplant, it actually looks not that bad considering the season. I don't want it to flower this late because we don't have that much time for it to grow in terms of the number of daylight hours and the warmth. So I'm actually going to just find a good spot to cut it down like that and just toss it in the green bin. And I know I said I was going to harvest, but I kind of want to clear some of this so I can see what I'm working with. I will harvest if I see anything as I go, but I decided maybe I should just start cutting things back based on what I'm seeing, and also just so I can see what I'm doing. Here is another eggplant that has seen better days. So I'm going to cut it down to where I see a little section right above that. And take out the stakes because you don't need those anymore. Now, you could just take all of the plants out, but because the peppers and the eggplants are perennial, I'd like to keep them. And there are a few tomatillos, so I'll still put the tomatillos aside. I think some of these are salvageable. Some of them are not. You want them to have a dry husk, but also be full. So I'm just gonna cut as I go so I can see. That one's no good. Sometimes tomatillos and tomatoes are also perennial in my zone. So if I cut it back, there's a chance it might regrow. Oh look, there's a baby eggplant. I'm actually going to just harvest that little guy. Ryan, if you're seeing this, I know you're gonna laugh. This is my little eggplant. My friend Ryan McAllister always has really big eggplant harvests because he actually manages a farm and is a fantastic farmer grower, whereas I just have a very small space. But anyway, so let's talk about when you're harvesting eggplant. This one is past its prime. It has lost its shine and it's starting to not just be dull, but it's kind of shriveled. So that's a goner because I didn't pay attention and it was out here. So that happens, that's okay. And as I'm going, I'm also weeding the beds. So this one, I'm just gonna cut down. It's the eggplant. It'll come back and maybe I'll have a chance at beating Ryan at the eggplant game. But here I'm gonna cut at the base of the tomatillo plant. I have two in here because with tomatillos, if you have more than one, you have better harvests. And this one's still good. This one's still good. All right. There's a bunch of, I'm just gonna cut through all of this and pull it out. All right. Whew. You can see, I just pull it, no big deal. And clear this bed. I know, at first, if you see fruit on it, you might feel a little bad about cutting it out, but honestly, once you start making the first cut, that's the worst one. Then you start seeing the light and you just want to clear the whole thing, which is where I'm at right now. Here we have a bunch of tomatoes that I'm don't think I'm gonna keep any of these, but what I'm gonna do is cut them all at the base. So you just wanna cut them down. And if it's done and there's no more vigor left in it, it's just going to die back and the roots will compost in the soil on its own and you're good. By cutting it back, you might get winter tomatoes in this region. If you're in a cooler region, sorry, most likely your tomatoes are done, but if you're in a warmer spot like me, it's all possible. So let's just clear this guy. I had used this green twine here because one, the green hides itself within the plants, so it's not so obvious that you have supports everywhere, but also it breaks down. So I'm just gonna cut all the supports. I forgot the exact name of this method, but it's one piece of twine around the base of the plant and you hang it over something that holds it. I have the Freyer trellis. I like it because it's so pretty and it'll last me forever. But I have an eggplant right here. So this one is still nice and shiny, it's still firm, and maybe I can make something with this. But here, this is tomato plant, and technically, if my mom's watching, she's probably annoyed because she would keep this and she would plant it, but I don't have the time or the patience to baby that. Whereas my mom is retired, she loves gardening and growing her own food, and using food waste or garden waste is one of her favorite challenges. I just don't have that in me right now. So, but yeah, I'm gonna trim back this eggplant, give it a haircut. Just like so. And I had this baby basil here. It's like a globe basil. And I'm gonna give that a haircut too. So all that gone. Because here, sometimes it might come back, but it is time to go. So I just cut everything at the base, just like this. Here, cut this at the base. Then you can see a bunch of weeds came through here. And nope, I don't have any gloves on. I often start with gloves with the best intentions, and it goes to the side. I think I'm gonna make a pile for my chickens because they love basil. There's some treats on there. There's definitely some bugs. They'll love that. And now that I harvested, oh my gosh, it's such a jungle. But since I harvested the eggplant, I'm actually gonna give it a cut right here. You want to cut right above where there's another sprout coming out, just like that, and it'll do pretty well. Actually, I'm going to cut right here. It also manages the plant to be smaller. And if you didn't catch it, I am cutting, I'm watching out that I don't cut my drip lines here. I'm going to trim my onions a little bit. There's a lot of roly-polies eating stuff. We have chives in here. Sometimes I just grab it and cut. I'm gonna pull this out. This plant right here is my shishito pepper, and we have peppers. So I'm gonna take off, there aren't very many. Oh, this has a lot of aphids on it. Probably not gonna keep these. And there's a few, it's not really enough to eat, so I'm actually going to just top it right here. Seems brutal, but as long as I cut right where there's another little sprout section, it will come right back. So I cut that shishito pepper down and I did not hit record. But anyway, here's one more pepper right here. You can see it. And I will actually not keep any of that, and I'm just going to top it like this, cut off any of the excess that we don't need. And as long as I maintain a good strong stem like this, yes, I'm being very careful with my hands. These are very sharp pruners. But as long as you have this little Y section here that has a sprout, it's going to keep growing from that section. So from all these little segments. So I'm cutting out all of the little branches, and now it's ready for the fall and winter. These are dead. Okay, so you can get everything just a really big haircut. The basil coming out. Ooh, there's definitely slugs in here. And I had other chili peppers that got shaded out. But giving the petunias their haircut. They might actually bloom again because they do well in this cooler weather. But the basil's got to go. And by trimming it down like this, sometimes it might actually grow back. More, sometimes I just grab it and cut, trying not to think about all the different bugs that are in this right now that could be on me. Now we're moving on to the tomato plant. They're right here. So again, in review, I just cut like so. Cut the supports. And just grab the tomato and that's it. It's all done. Throw it in my compost. This bed's almost done. So this was a cucumber plant, and cucumbers don't do well in excessive heat or cold, so it's done. Ooh, that was pokey. This thistle and a green waste. Got another basil plant here. And this is why you don't pull something. I'm going to actually cut it and put it back. But this basil plant, you can see the roots really hold on to all the soil around, and you're disturbing everything that's living in there. So I actually just cut at the base to leave it alone. Look, there's a baseball. My kids play baseball on the driveway and practice with their dad. You might say, like, do I need to remove all of these leaves? And the answer is you don't, because they'll actually break down. Now, if it bothers you, go ahead and remove it. Some people might get mad at you for saying you're gonna remove things, but it's your garden, your rules. Let's move on to bed number 2. Here, I have this basil that has decided to come back in the fall, but it's starting to flower, which means the flavor has changed. So this is actually gonna go to my chickens. I'm gonna give it a haircut and we'll see if it comes back. Oh, there's a hummingbird. Oh, it didn't come visit, but I've been leaving this here and the hummingbirds love coming into these little flowers. So I have been leaving that. Maybe I should leave it for them. What do you think? Maybe I'll take everything else. This was a watermelon vine. Where's my pruners? This was a watermelon vine. So again, we're cutting the support. Honestly, I kind of planted this and totally forgot I had it here. So did I get watermelon? Yeah, but I didn't harvest it on time because I completely just forgot. It got overgrown by my loofah, and this is what my watermelon looks like. So this was a sugar baby. It was an extra seed. Let's cut it open and see. I don't know. My kids love watermelon. I totally can't believe that I forgot that this was even here. But we do have seeds, so we could grow it. Should I try it? Actually, it's still pretty good. Maybe I'll give them a bite. It doesn't look great. Seed just fell, but it's not too bad. I'm gonna cut back some of the basil, but I'm going to use one of these stakes. Here's another watermelon vine. Like I said, it's a little crazy in here. I'm going to use this stake to kind of help it stand up and out of the way. We'll leave that for the hummingbirds. But I think it's time to get everything else just gone. I often have this issue where I've been waiting for the loofah, and this is what you want. Nice and dry, nice and crinkly. You can pop off the bottom and you have all the seeds. But I kind of want to get this cleaned up, but they're not all dry. Let me show you. So right there, lots of loofah. There's my husband. I don't know if he's paying attention, but he's right there doing what? He's doing dishes. And then here, I've got some of the loofahs already, but there's still quite a few green ones. And I'm debating, let's see what happens if I just take this down. I think I have enough, but I'm also torn. I can't get myself to take down the loofah just yet because I have so many. I have some like this. So I'll take some of the brown ones down, but like these right here aren't quite ready. So I'm gonna leave that to dry. But if you want to collect loofah for sponges, this is the best ideal scenario. You can bake the green ones to dry them out and to get that inner loofah fiber that you're familiar with. It looks like this, right? For your sponge or anything like that, crafts. This is what you really want, is for it to be dry. But you can cheat a little, and especially when it's like this, it should be fine just to dry in the oven. Some of you in cooler climates need to make it faster. So when it's green like this, you can do it. It's not the same, but I'm just gonna take down the brown ones. I'll leave the roots intact and connected to the plants for now. I'll take the rest out though. There's quite a few seeds, so we'll collect some of that too. I'm just going to pull out the stake. It's a lot of the same repetitive process if you haven't noticed. Cut at the base, and yes, there are spiders, there are roly-polies, and I am trying to ignore all of that. And that's it, just cut, cut, cut. And now I have this pile of corn husks that I'm gonna give to my chickens. It's great for them to stimulate their brains and go looking for the corn seed. And there's a lot of weeds in here that got through. And let's see, what is this? More weeds. There's oregano, so it smells really great right here. There's actually some petunias in this corner as well. So I'm going to give this oregano a big haircut. And I can keep some of this actually. It smells fantastic. So here's some oregano. All right. That helps keep everything really nice and cohesive. All right. As you can see, I had some petunias under here. They look good so far still. Some of these were early loofahs, and so they didn't get very big. There's this one. Oops. And they're actually really, oh, you can see it even perforates on the bottom by itself. There's another one. Oh, and then the bottom opened, so I gotta be careful I don't drop all the seeds. This one is almost done drying, so I'm gonna leave this to dry some more. Just pulling this down. This one is gonna dry. If you look right here, it actually grew onto my security camera, but it's kind of pretty. We're gonna leave it until it's dry. But this guy, oh, there's another one right here that's about to dry, but it is still flowering and it is still trying to pump out fruit and more. But I'm gonna give the basil a haircut. This is my sunniest spot. You can see how good that looks and smells. This will go to the chickens because I think the flavor, actually it still tastes pretty good. So I might keep some of it, but the flowers, things like that will go to my chickens. I'm not gonna cut the whole thing back because I do want to save some for the hummingbirds. And you know what's really funny is, I'm gonna have to bring you closer in a second. Oh, a radish. That was not expected. I guess this seed must have been left over and it grew on its own. This is what makes my mom so mad is I don't try and I kind of let the garden dictate and I get a lot of harvest and she tries and she almost babies her plants too much. But here, we got a little radish. And here's the thing. Your garden, you dictate. If you think it looks good, if you're happy with it, that's all that matters. Now, I just had a consult yesterday where I helped someone and I thought her garden looked fantastic as a fellow garden lover, but she felt like it wasn't pretty enough. And the thing was, it was plenty pretty. It just didn't have a theme and she had different plants at different spots and there was a mix match of pots, and you know what, that's all okay as long as you're happy. Her plants were happy. So as a garden consultant, designer, educator, all the things, I thought it looked fine. But maybe someone who isn't a garden enthusiast, they might think that it looked a little eclectic. But that's okay too. That's a style as well. And not everyone's gonna like growing food on the side of their house. Some people will think this is really messy, some people will think it's cool, and some people won't even care. So it really just depends on what you want to do for your own garden. So I'm gonna cut some of this out because it will help look a little bit cleaner. And again, you just have to trust the process. I have a garden accident and maybe it's a good accident. Let me show you. For those of you who've gardened for a while know that this is a rose. And you might be like, oh, how did a rose get here? Well, the rose got there because I actually had roses in 5-gallon pots sitting on the soil and I had left it here for an entire season. The roots went through the pot, rooted and everything, and in order to remove it and plant all of this stuff, I just cut underneath the pot and took the pot, planted it somewhere else. But there was enough root that was in here that the rose has grown on its own. So I think I'm gonna leave it alone. I might end up having a rose here and it'll be an own root rose, which is pretty cool. But that just shows how resilient plants are, that even if you cut it at the root and there's only the root left underneath that you didn't see, if a plant wants to grow, it's gonna grow. And I did not feed it any different. I didn't take care of it any different. I didn't even know it was here. It was buried under this basil and it's just growing happily. The only thing is, I just have to be careful when I'm going through here and not to be rough, because now there could be thorns in here. But I don't know, maybe I should dig it out and transplant it somewhere else, or maybe I should just have roses right here. So it clearly wants to stay, and for right now, I'm gonna leave it. This very last bed doesn't have a ton in it right now. It has a lot of this Thai basil that's gone to seed, and there's seeds all over my driveway and probably in the garden bed. But again, I'm just going to haircut everything and leave it alone. This one, it had the loofah that's right here and some petunias on the edge and some basil, and that was it. You can tell this basil's pretty happy still right here. It is flowering, so the flavor might have changed a little bit. And you can see there's a lot of seed on my driveway. I'm just giving it a haircut so it can start fresh. There are lots of little leaves that are popping out. You can see right there, as long as I cut right above that, it will sprout a new set of leaves and be totally back to a good, healthy, bushy form. This is the south-facing wall. If I give it a haircut and it doesn't get too cold, it's gonna survive and actually produce all fall, maybe winter, and if it's happy, it will stay here in spring as well. This loofah is very ready. So, nice and big. In the end, it just self-detaches like this. It has like its own perforation. It's pretty cool. And then there's seeds. So I'm gonna keep that one. There's two more right here. Can you see that? So I'm cutting them like this. And I think I might bring this to the school I teach at and let the kids save some seeds. So this one is almost ready. I'm not in a rush, so I'm gonna leave that. Taking this one down. This one is good. It's nice and dry. Here's another that's definitely ready. And it climbed all the way to the top. Here's another. And again, not everyone's okay with something climbing up there, but it's an experiment for me. So that's it for clearing the beds. Now that we've gone through and determined what plants stay, what plants go, the next one is to top it off with some soil and fertilizer. To be honest, I haven't been doing a very good job about feeding these plants because I didn't have to. I relied on this actually, and this is not sponsored. I did get this product for Pasadena Showcase House, and I have had some left over, but this is a starter plant food, biotone, and I amended the soil when I planted with biotone, and it just took off. So I have a little bit left in the bag. Oh, there's a little jumping spider right there. Oh, and now I don't know where it is. We're not going to think about that. They're harmless. They're actually really beneficial for your garden because they eat all the pests that you don't want, but that's fine. So biotone is one of those that is kind of new to me as of 2025, but huge fan. You might have to look for it on Amazon. I'll try to find a link and put it in the caption for you. But it's great for when you first start a garden. You don't have to use this one at amendment time. There are other ones that you can use from Espoma as well. Another one that I like is also down to earth. I just use what I have on hand. And if I do have to repurchase, I will purchase some of this on my own as well as down to earth. So when I don't feel like figuring out what amendment specifically, this is a great mix to just throw on. I literally just spread it liberally all over. I don't measure. So I like to do that. And then, also not sponsored, but this is the product that I use to top off my beds. I like Fox Farms. I'll either use Happy Frog or Ocean Forest. I like that the combo in the bag is already so good. If you have any interest about soil breakdown and the types of soils that are available at retail, let me know. I've had it in my mind to make a video where I get all those different soils, I give you price points, and we talk about which ones I would buy, which ones I wouldn't buy, or how I would fix it up to make it even better. Maybe you take a budget one and you add some amendments. What is that? So let me know if that's of any interest. But so here's Fox Farms, and the reason why I like it is that, now, another confession. This bag has been sitting on my driveway for months. So you can see it is still moist, and it is actually still very fine. Bring it closer. Look at how fine it is. And so because this is such a light material, you can see the plants love it, the roots love it. It's not hard for the roots to navigate through. So this is why I love this product, to just top the beds off. Now, some of you might think, there's plenty of soil, why do you need to top it off? One of my biggest pet peeves is those who have raised beds who don't fill it. And I know you might get mad at me for saying that, but the whole benefit of having raised beds is you get to control your soil. So fill them up. And I actually just dump it like this on top. Usually I'm a little bit more careful, but right now I just don't feel like it. So again, right here, all of a sudden, our garden looks so much better with just a fresh layer of soil. Now some of these, this is a tomato plant that I cut back. This is an eggplant that I cut back. I missed a couple weeds, so toss those. This tomato, we're just gonna sink it back in and see if it comes back. And here, this is a rose that also, I left the root in, I guess, when I took it out, and it's coming back. So if you want to very quickly bring your garden beds back to life, that's really all you have to do. And now I prefer to have my drip lines above the soil so I can see if they're working or not. If you've been gardening for a little bit, you might know about neem oil, but I don't know if you know about neem seed meal. Now this is the byproduct of making neem oil, and it's my secret weapon because ants don't like it, a lot of pests don't like it because it's from the neem seed, or it's from the neem tree. I like to sprinkle this every time I amend because it doesn't last forever. It is organic, at least the one from Down to Earth that I just showed you. Again, not sponsored, just something I love, but if you're watching this, I would love to work with you. But anyway, I've been using this for years and it definitely kicks out the ants from the garden bed. You do have to apply it every season just to be the most effective. I feel better about using neem seed meal because it's worked into the soil. The pollinators aren't really landing on this soil. Compared to if you were to spray neem oil on the plant, you might get it onto a flower. There might be pollinators around. There's a lot of debate on neem oil, is it safe or not? And if I can avoid using it, I'm going to. I know some people swear by neem oil, but personally, I don't like the taste. I don't like the smell, so I don't want it on my vegetables especially, or on my flowers. And that's most of what I grow, so I use neem seed meal. Anyway, I just do it like this, nice and liberally, and it already looks so much better. So all I need to do is go get some plants, and you might wonder, why haven't I worked it into the soil? You don't need to do that because when you're planting, it's gonna happen. Now that the garden bed is kind of ready for new plants, we're gonna go shopping but let's talk about a plan first. So for this one, I'm overwintering my eggplant and my peppers in here. So I don't have a lot of space to grow too much. Now the peppers and the eggplant won't grow a lot during the fall and winter because they are heat-loving plants. So what would work well right now is I could probably squeeze in some broccolis. We do have a heat wave coming though, so I might want to hold off, or I can just throw in some seeds and see what happens. Because I have this amazing trellis right here, I'm going to plant a lot of snap peas because that's something that my family loves to eat, and you can never have too many snap peas. They're expensive to purchase and they're not good at the store. So my plan is to plant a lot right there. If my tomatoes come back, that's great. They can have winter tomatoes. It'll be all mixed in together. We're breaking all the rules today.